welcome to Critical Tumble, where a bunch of longtime friends and internet nerds transcend geography through the power of Discord to play Dungeons and Dragons and critically fumble a lot. The last person who critically fumbled actually is not here at the moment, because we're having bad days all around, apparently. Poor us, basically. Anyhow, previously, the Cupcake Coterie arrived in Anbeer, where the attempt to get the Protector Azamar that survived various purges out from under the boots of the Scourge Azamar, who made it their mission in life to protect them, is not going very well. Alisaie went in first to see if she could inspire the people. That did not work out how anybody expected it, and now she's playing Sleeping Beauty in a tower somewhere. Currently, part of the thing is, let's get her out, shall we? A material witness to this bullshit might be nice. But of course, after the first tour, they weren't letting these guys back in, because it was pretty obvious they were going to be causing trouble. So you had your tour, that was apparently it. A couple of instances of foot in mouth followed, and then y'all got arrested, briefly. The questioning by Sergeant Lend gave you guys at least some information, part of it being, oh yeah, by the way, now they're charging Barnabas with manslaughter, but got effectively broken out by the Mobius twins, ancient, pretty much immortal half-elven twins. Under some disguises, and before they even so much as crashed out for the evening, they went on various errands to pick up the maps of the sewer system and access to the maintenance tunnels to the lift in the tower. Went to listen to the basically the song of the street, because apparently there's some less than salubrious action going on in the Azamar settlement. Apparently the Scourge Azamar have now stomped on the Protector Azamar's last nerve, letting two of the children stay wounded and dead, respectively. It was a pretty big part of that, more than likely. And what was going to be a fairly simple prayer to Tritherion got apparently a living avatar of justice and the law, going, okay, let's handle this injustice in the legal sense. So currently these guys have just finished the horse-drawn carriage equivalent of a limo ride into the government building, where they're currently sitting, being watched over by a receptionist and glared at by a couple of people the receptionist spent a good 2 minutes yelling at over the fact that they don't even belong here as far as she's concerned. And got a minor proposal of marriage from Barnabas, which was a thing. Apparently Barnabas be like that. I don't know. So yeah, it's basically just a matter of waiting until y'all are called in. And Farida is just nobody really thought to ask. Do we all go in? Because it's only Remy who's putting forward charges, I think is the best way of phrasing it.
Well, yes, but Tag thinks we're all criminals, so.
And Darvin is, yeah, but from what you were telling me about that lady, the no bullshit lady, she wasn't dealing with how illegal or not what we did was. We're dealing with you saying how illegal what he did is.
Well, yes, but it's
But
a factor.
Darwin is like, usually it's me who just basically like doesn't care about how it's supposed to actually work.
Mhm.
And just sort of looks at Barnabas, and it's sort of just the look of help me out here. You know more about this shit than I do on my best day.
Yeah, honestly, it probably should just be you. Unfortunately, we don't.
All
We're not.
right.
I mean,
All of us really aren't pressing anything, you know.
maybe at least to start. I mean, it's good to have us here. We're
Yeah, if
like,
they want to see us after, I mean,
or if they want to see it in Farada's, and if they want to see us during, I mean,
hmm,
part of this, I assume, is going to be proving that Tag is lying when he says that he hasn't seen her. And so we're part of the witnesses, I think, but we're not all striding in doing the thing, right?
Right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
suppose they could just call us in if they
hmm,
need us. Um,
Fair enough.
we do have to, at some point, we discussed talking to the governor about whether they should have a coming out, as it were.
Yeah,
Yes.
that,
That's the
yeah.
other
yeah.
complicated topic.
I think
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to wait and see what, because we don't even know what it looks like in there. We don't know what this whole process involves, and I mean, we probably won't get bunnied for just asking the question unless there's like an audience or something.
Mm,
I mean,
Sure.
Ava, you know how nobility judgment works. It's usually noble sitting in chair with most of the court hanging around so that they know what's been decided and can enforce whatever.
mm,
I've only been to one of those things. It was creepy. I'm just saying it's better to walk in on your own and have them say, you can bring your friends in than to make the assumption.
mm,
All right.
Might be heartened a little bit when door opens and Tansy, one of the people working the kitchens at the tower, walks in, gives a little, has a quiet word with the receptionist, and is nudged to effectively another room. And we're not going to ask.
she's probably.
Remy gives her a wave.
Well, yeah, she waved at you and walked out. It's like, well, I mean, I know she didn't stick around, but eh.
Well, but seems to be a sign that we're not the only ones bringing in vital news to the governor.
And the
I hope.
receptionist looks up and says, or whoever's representing you has called for witnesses of their own
Mhm.
to plead your case because you weren't in any state to do so.
That
They
is
did,
was a
after
very good
all.
idea.
They did, after all, kind of threw us out and insisted they would handle the whole paperwork thing.
The receptionist is just maybe, and I'd say maybe they'd met you, but if it's who I'm thinking, she wouldn't have had to.
Yeah, yeah. It
Besides,
it
I've
took
heard besides, I've heard some of the stories. You all are precipitate, I think is the polite way of putting it.
Mhm.
Complete and total klutzes? Yes.
I suppose if you could have it on a verbal and mental scale as well as a physical scale, yeah. Goes back to paperwork.
This is going to be interesting when we finally get in there, isn't it?
More than likely.
Yeah, sorry, this one's going to be mildly complicated. It's a pair from the street of Love and Beauty who've been having a competition about 2 foot of wall. They both paint murals on their buildings,
Ah.
and they're not accepting just cutting it down the middle and each having 1 foot. They say it will ruin the aesthetic.
Hmm.
You can see the gears start to turn, catch, stutter, stutter, fail.
You are clearly not an artist. We have to deal with
Imagine
we have to deal with far too many artists around here.
I assume both using it into a combined piece isn't something then.
That might be feasible if they weren't from two completely different schools of art.
Yeah.
Mm. Well, shit.
Yes, unfortunately, this is about the 6th time they've been in this court in the last 8 months.
Oof.
Oof.
The same issue?
Similar, about 3 of them were the same 2 feet, just the pavement.
Oh.
Ah.
Well, they both wanted planning permission to do some very interesting mosaic work with the with paving stones and cobblestones. And that same 2 feet of space is still the problem.
Why do they keep trying to work in the exact same spot?
Because they're right next to each other.
No, but I'm just trying to figure out why they. Because if it was like a competition or a contest to decide who was working on the area, or like a way to assign people to specific places to do their work on or in.
No, it's their own buildings.
But they live.
Literally next
Oh
to each
no.
other. And they both want that 2 feet because without that 2 feet, and even if it was just reduced to 1 feet, it would ruin the aesthetic.
And apparently their schools are not just.
They're not compatible, no.
They're not just not compatible, they're also apparently rivals from the sound of this.
That's the thing. It's not so much that they're rivals, it's just each of them are very, very keen on their aesthetic. And apparently the slightest thing out of true will ruin the entire thing.
Hmm.
Clunk, clunk.
This is why I like landscapes. You don't have that problem.
Could an artful way of having it like a jigsaw, or have one of them have the pavement and then one of them have the wall?
But then it overlaps into the work because the pavement and the wall are... they're supposed to mesh into the art form whole. We did try the puzzle bits, but apparently both of them thought that just wrecked everything. Which is why one of the times they were anywhere was Her Grace's Bower having a fist fight over, well, essentially what happened to the jigsaw puzzle effect of the building and whose fault it was it didn't work.
I'm half wondering if this is getting to the point of adventurers being required to step in.
What do adventurers do?
Well, it sounds like she's volunteering. Excuse me. Pat, 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 pat.
Hazel.
Oh,
Good job, Hazel.
Just eyes are now the size of dinner plates. And that shit.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame that the Clarity didn't mention that they take some shit pretty literally here sometimes.
Oh boy.
You can see the expression on my face of cleric is error.
uh,
Oh, God damn it, Hazel.
Just caused a categorical malfunction internally and just staring into the just sort of
I'm
staring
sorry.
into
I'm
the middle
sorry.
space of the room.
You said this. I'm running with it. At which point,
It's great. It's just you broke the cleric. Congratulations.
it probably gets worse because Pat's back out again and said, your kind offer has been accepted. Come with me. Grab yoink."
It's like expression of sweet Palar, help, 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 help.
Apparently, nobody is helping you.
Yep, no words. Just that terrified expression of "Oh God, help!"
Oh yeah, but again, I'm sure they all see it. I'm not sure they care.
some
I've just
lessons
gotten my
have to
ass
be
hauled off
learned
to
the
a
hard
completely
way.
different scenario. See you later, everybody.
You know, in somebody else's campaign.
In Ava's case, it's not she doesn't care. She's just like, what do you want me to do? Sort of thing.
Darvin is just Hazel. If there's a way to say something that will get misconstrued or just not come out right, if there is any way to do it, Hazel will find them. There are a lot of ways to do that. I know because I do them myself. This is going to be a feature for a long time. She'll learn this specific lesson, but this isn't going to stop. Hey, we've been traveling with her come autumn. And hey,
You
sometimes
understand
it's
the
funny.
concept. Can't stop doing it.
Yes, so yeah, Hazel is drawn into and it's a good sized room. There does appear to be an audience, stenographer type of individual, actually even somebody doing the courtroom sketch artist thing. Various other people who apparently represent the various districts around both Ambier as a whole and the Heavens Ward. And one side, full elf, male, very tall, very pale, impeccably dressed, and everything about his face speaks of sharp. He is an angular man.
Oh no.
And on the other side, you have Firbolg. Woman, the whole outfit screams cottagecore.
I think I know which art styles this is going for too. Oh God.
And looks a little offended. Not at you, at Pointy Man. And
Processing this.
and sat at the far end of the room is Bahir Zet, who's apparently fed up with the both of them at this point. And the secretary is just this adventurer feels that she might be able to help in this situation, and then stands out
The
by the door.
expression of absolute blind terror has not left my face.
And Bahir Zet is just have you heard the particulars of the case?
Out of character to just so I'm sure I'm getting this clear. they both want the same. Basically, it's gotten to a point where the two properties meet, that they're arguing about who gets the space to do work on.
They're arguing over 2 feet of wall and pavement.
And it's 2 feet of wall and 2 feet of pavement.
Yes.
And they've already gone over the fact that you can't just have one in the wall and one in the pavement at all.
And the Fearbulk is that aesthetically that really would not work. I mean, I did try that compromise, but then again, of course, we couldn't entirely decide on who got the pavement and who got the wall. Not a whole lot of people look down, and everybody looks at the walls. And Mr. Pointy is just, I am sorry, but I honestly feel that your design features would be better suited to the lower end.
Okay. Do your design features work like arrows at all? Can they be used to draw the eye anywhere?
Then, funnily enough, in unison, which one of us are you asking this?
I'm like distinctly looking at Pointy.
Yes,
the
you
way
have
he
you
just
have
spoke.
you have to tell me that, because otherwise
Yeah, sorry.
I don't know.
I'm going to be looking at Pointy, who just spoke. Yeah, I'll clarify if needed.
Why would I want to point to that?
Because then there's got to be a way for your work to point back the other way.
Why would I want to point at her work? I'm supposed to be showcasing my work.
That if you showcase each other's work, and you not only make it almost compatible, despite it not being that way, and you end up sharing an audience, which is therefore twice as large in both directions.
The Fearbulk is sorry. We should probably show you the art styles we're talking about.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a couple of easels. They've been covered by cloths, one on Pointy's end and one on the Fearbulk's end. Fearbulk is your thinking Van Gogh kind of, post-impressionist florals and that kind of thing. Mr. Pointy is all about the cubism. Their color palettes are entirely different. Their styling is entirely different. And at the end of the day, there is just nothing you could conceivably do to make these point at each other.
Just that look of what did I get myself into, and half terror is still on my face. Now we've also got the fuck. I'm half wondering if it's going to come down to a bloody coin flip at this point.
But here's that is just, we tried that.
Because if this argument keeps up, it might well reach the point of neither someone else gets it.
The Fearbulk is like, well, what would somebody else do with 2 feet of wall? Just 2 feet
no,
of wall.
No, the whole space.
In unison again, it's our shops! Yeah, but here's that, it's just, this is property they own. It's just they are arguing about this 2 feet represents wall space between their two
Is there actual wall space there?
Yes, they're joined together. It's just a particularly thick wall. It sort of has to be.
Let's use it as a borderline. Neither gets it. It's a delineating mark. Someone else work on that. There's got to be somebody who could work with a space of that variety.
That would blend both of them.
Could be a third wholly different thing entirely. Doesn't have to blend at all. Just can be its own thing.
So
If
you're
someone could blend, that would be great. But
suggesting that I give a piece of each of their properties to a third party to stop them arguing.
not give the piece, just not ownership, but delineate that as I guess a city-funded artistic project. I don't know how to words this correctly.
So the government would claim a piece of each of their property.
This hurts my head trying to explain. Out of character, I know how to explain it. Hazel.
I mean,
Glitching out.
I think I get it, but I mean the issue is that apparently it's a quite thick wall. They've both built up their various walls, possibly because one or both of them has a particularly noisy place of business. And that 2 feet of space that's been used as that 2 feet of flat wall that is used as sound buffer, they're clearly arguing about, but they both technically still own it. It's a question of deciding how much of that belongs to each of them. Now that the wall is so thick that it's kind of difficult to say which one starts where and which one ends where, which is why they're fighting over that. But it's still a matter of the government would have to come and confiscate that 2 feet, whoever it belongs to let a third party use it.
God, the laws here are weird. And yeah, I haven't said any of this. It's just Hazel's got the expression of it's just trying to process and clearly still failing.
I mean, to be fair, this is the kind of legal argument that does happen. It usually involves fences.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens about somebody's tree, dropping branches onto somebody's car, and particularly if the roots transfer past the boundary line. That whole kind of property line bullshit is a problem.
Mm-hmm. Which one of you started setting up this wall?
The Mr. Pointy kind of huffs in an I don't see what that has to do with anything kind of way. The Fearbulg is just, I mean, technically I did. I run a florist shop. It's just that, a lot of his sculpture is metalwork. So one of our first times here was trying to deal with the fact that it's a flower shop and flower cafe. So obviously I was doing the floral effects as you see here as a kind of an advertisement. And I think he liked the idea, I think. Well, you certainly weren't speaking to my aesthetics. Someone had to. But yes, I started the actual painting on the walls, and I think he thought I was getting too much attention, even though people who frequent me, if they liked you, they'd still frequent you. It's not like I'm stealing away people who are interested in your particular brand of sculpture.
Insight check the elf.
By all means.
Because I'm already inclined towards the furbolg at this point.
I mean, it's hard. He's a hard read. He's on the older end of Elven, and he's had a lot of practice. It's pretty clear that what he considers beautiful is, I mean, obviously some people do appreciate that kind of art, but not enough for his liking. So he doesn't like any attention being taken away from it because he's honestly afraid that no one will appreciate his vision.
And his vision is just aggressively cubist.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, now I'm going to roll the hand of fate just because. Yeah, actually, now that you're thinking about it, I mean, you walked all the way down the street of Love and Beauty, and while trying to make yourself small after that particular incident, you did see that pair of buildings, and in the windows of the weird cubist-looking one were some weird mobile suncatcher wind chime looking bits of metalwork. Egref would probably find them fascinating, but probably not to Hazel's aesthetic.
It reads like this guy would be like if he had a franchise or something in Egref, he'd be swarmed.
Pretty much, yes. But at the moment, because the impression is probably something like he wants that to be accepted as a type of beauty, so he's not going to just shove it to Egref where people would be as interested, if not more interested in how it was made than what it looks like. And so he gets a lot testy about anything that draws attention away from what he apparently considers banal, but deep down knows doesn't need quite the same level of look at me as his shit does. But of course, the main thing from a wisdom perspective is she started doing it and then he started encroaching on her thing. She got the bit of wall first. Then she wouldn't have had to build that wall if it wasn't for his metal machine noises. And to be honest, Behirzet does look kind of okay. Didn't think to ask who started this. Because he was clearly focusing on the argument, not that level of historical insight.
Because, okay, so if you started building,
Well, I started painting. He moved in. We had to build the wall, and there were some debates over who got use of that particular section of particularly thick wall. He didn't mind so much when the wall was only a few inches.
and you're looking for your work to be as accepted as everything else, right? This directed at Pointy.
Effectively, yes.
I personally have no idea how to say this, but it's like when it comes down to the to the case of who built it in the first place, it does belong to the Verbolg, but that doesn't mean that in the same fell swoop, it doesn't mean that that his work isn't being appreciated and still that won't be accepted just because of a wall that does in fact actually belong to somebody else.
Hand of Fate is also with you. You're also looking at the two bits of artwork, and you can see how it'd be more difficult with florals and that kind of thing to narrow things a little. A good way to appeal to Mr. Pointy would be the flexibility he has to experiment with new shapes, which draw the same amount of attention. He's got more flexibility of space, you could say.
Well, the way I'm seeing it is since your work is natural forms, it doesn't really work can't really adapt to a constrained space. It just keeps expanding, right?
Pretty much. It's more that without that 2 feet of space, I've got kind of issues with my upcoming Ode to Spring. There's only so much you can bend cherry and apple blossoms and still get the full blossoms.
I'm turning in Pointy's direction. And in your case, while her work can't bend, looks like yours can, and into newer and even more inventive shapes.
So you're suggesting adapting the art to the canvas instead of adapting the canvas to the art.
Yes. Because you can do that.
This is going to be very
In fact, that might draw even more attention.
This is going to be very problematic, but his wisdom rolled a 3. I suppose I should stop underestimating half-elves quite so much. Sorry.
that gets a look.
He doesn't care.
It's just and Hazel's internally is just oh great, that kind of elf. I was trying to do case by case.
In some cases, they're assholes. You've actually been very lucky with full elves so far. Just this one happened to be a shithead. I mean, to be fair, he's arguing over 2 feet of wall space when mostly he's doing an art form that is pretty much designed to adapt to the canvas, so... In any case, Bahirzet just looks at them and goes, so we've agreed that the lady gets the 2 feet of wall, I suppose. Looks, if you don't like it, the other option is still open. I'm sure that someone else would be perfectly happy to trade spaces with you. No, sir, it's fine. Right, you will be paying the lady 200 golds worth of damage so she can replenish the art supplies that you obliged her to use by painting over her work. Dismissed. The secretary comes out, takes Hazel by the wrist and drags her outside.
Yeah, the expression of "what the fuck just happened" has not left my face.
Yeah, that you didn't hear any of that, you guys outside, but yeah, the secretary was pushing her back in and going, "It'll be a few minutes before your case is called. It's just some paperwork that needs some sorting out.
Okay.
And maybe get her to stop twitching."
We'll do our best on that one.
And he grabs a bunch of parchment from her desk and moves back inside.
So how'd it go?
You okay over there?
Did you solve it?
I
Darvin,
poke her in the head.
and Darvin is just, hang on. We've actually got something for this. And pulls out one of those cranberry apple tea globes. It hands it to Clarity. If you just sort of stick that in her face, she'll be okay.
Mm.
See?
Mm.
So as everyone's been asking, how'd it go?
That was the argument was ridiculous.
Well, yeah, we knew
Ye-
that.
You
No,
don't
it
say.
was even more ridiculous when you actually see what their stuff looked like. One was all like natural stuff and vines and trees and blossoms, and it doesn't compact all that well, and the other one was all metalwork and stuff that does bend and reshape, and the entire whole shtick was about bending, reshaping, and adapting to the space available rather than the
So the one with the the shapes was being an asshole.
he was being an elf.
Farrah
I
is
was-
kind of pointed in Ryland's direction.
I was gonna say you might.
Is that better or worse than an asshole?
And Darvin is just,
Did
I
you
think it
accidentally end
depends.
up with one of the racist ones?
Oh.
Less,
Oh.
not to that level, but just
That's not a no.
I'm just going to like pull everyone as close as possible.
That's not a no.
Yeah.
Up himself.
Oh.
And Farrah is just, I have the opportunity to say a swear now, asshole.
hmm
Yeah. I mean, if he had a physical form representative of his current attitude, it would have been bent double backwards and up his own ass.
Jesus. Bad?
Darvin is just, how would that even work? Sorry, no.
If you're wondering how that manages to work, or how one can think of something like that, spend a while herding sheep or goats.
No, thank you.
Really don't know what that means.
I'm not sure I know
What?
Just no, thank you.
Above board. I don't know what that means.
You get inventive when you get mad. And goats and sheep will eventually drive you to that level of rage.
Okay.
I wasn't
I'm
aware that
sh-
was something they could do.
I'm sure that connects in her head.
I guess.
Probably.
It does. It does. It very much still connects in Hazel's head.
And out from the room comes a very tall, very angular elven man who just sort of gives as walks past, followed by a cottagecore firbolg who stops in front of Hazel. If you have a moment, whenever it is that you're dealing with is dealt with, come to my place. I've got some wonderful tea, and we're not so much with the best cheesecake, but we do a maple walnut cake, and it's on the house.
Well, I guess that answers who won the argument.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm already sold on that, though I do want to see what he ultimately ends up doing with the redefinement of how much space he has.
Well, if they're right next door to each other, won't you be able to see if you go visit her anyway?
That's essentially what I mean. It's like it's both benefits for the price of one.
Plus, I seem to remember maple walnut cake's one of your favorites.
Exactly.
And secretary comes back out again. Remy Crestwind?
Yes.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Here we go.
Thanks.
And yeah, you enter effectively courtroom.
Have we wait? Did this get all of us? In this
That
context?
got her, but you do have nudges Remy just to get her into the room, and then you can sit in the audience chairs, but do not come up unless they call you.
Mosey.
Follow through on that and shuffle in.
Same.
Yeah, there's a few seats that deal reasonably well with the betailed, so people get some comfy. And Remy walks into something between a bog standard courtroom, something you'd see in live stream of the House of Commons meeting, and a throne room, because there's behirs at one end of the room. Either side, you've got what you're not entirely sure is a jury, but they seem to be kind of a someone to look to if you are personally stuck more than anything else, and audience seating out towards the rear. By the time you guys settle and Remy gets in, the side opposite what would be the jury box contains a few familiar faces. Captain Tag is one. Sergeant Lend is another. Tansy from the cookery crew. And Niala Mobius. From room off to the side, the gnomish avatar of justice. And now you finally get to see what this woman looks like. She's small and kind of hunched, and she looks like the librarian. And sort of hobbles up and Remy Crestwind stands before you to accuse Captain Tag of theft. In the parlance of the people, her heart has been stolen from her in the form of the willful refusal to keep her heart from returning where it belongs. Heart being, in the parlance of the people, not so much simply the physical organ, but the individual soul and body that the beating of that heart creates. A small glance, so in case anyone was thinking of just removing the technical aircraft definition heart and returning it, would be entirely out of luck. But here's that looks. State your case, Remy Crestwind.
Well, the explanation of the nature of bonding and the traditions of the people of the North, that sums it up quite well. I believe Captain Tag has stolen my heart and refuses to return it. So I formally accuse him here before the eyes of the governor and the gods.
Appreciated, but Paladin Crestwind, I was more looking for a summary of the events.
We had been informed by Ziriel, the Solar of Palor, of the plight of the Tector Asimar, who are being confined to their district, regardless of the wishes of each individual person, under the supposed claim that it is for their own good and protection. Ziriel asked Alice if she would be the first to see them, and she readily volunteered and entered the Asimar district and spoke with a number of the Protector Asimar, and in doing so was arrested and confined against her will by Captain Tag, and after multiple attempts to escape was crippled and forced into a magical sleep so that she would not attempt to escape and, more importantly, not attempt to show her fellow Protector Asimar that there is a life outside the walls of the district. And when the rest of us came to find her, he claimed that she had never been there at all, when we know full well, based on speaking to a number of people who live or work there, that she was and still is there.
I see. Captain Tag, your rebuttal. Captain Tag does not look impressed by any of this, but it's less a hatred of you and more of a I am tired of being seen as the bad guy thing. I admit. I did refuse to explain to this woman that the Asimar Alice came to us. However, I contend that the situation into which her involvement with this group has put her is a significant detriment. I am not entirely unconvinced that there is not what I believe the people of Egrev call Stockholm Syndrome, which I'm not entirely sure what that means beyond you are bonded to and fond of people who are extremely bad for you. They are taking her into a situation that I have seen with my own eyes is worse than death for her kind. I personally am of the opinion that she needs time and space to see the danger she is walking into. She needs to come to her own decision and see a different way. I'm not entirely sure where the crippled, etc. comes from. The enchanted sleep, yes. Mostly on the basis of, again, this syndrome thing. She needs time. Given the fact that she's, as far as I've been able to assess from a number of stories, died twice in their company. Can you really expect protection for her from this? Not to mention, and I'm sorry to bring up something of this nature, but some of my lieutenants have insisted. She is first generation Azamar. This is an entirely new line. And she is apparently married to a woman. While ordinarily I am not against this, Hazel the insightful will get, unlike some of the people that have been yelling at me about this. But there is the situation that there aren't enough Asmar as it is. Why would the world have been given an entirely new bloodline if it wasn't going to perpetuate? Behirza just sighs. This is going to be one of those, isn't it?
I insight check to or religion check to try and tell if Tag has any kind of connection to the essentially the angelic start to his particular line.
By all means.
Like I know it's probably it's probably going to be impossibly high DC, but I still want to see if he's getting the same kinds of messages. You want me to do religion or
It would have to be religion, and I'll explain if. Yeah, you've got just high enough to know that all Azamar. You did some of the reading, and when Remy reminded you of the name, you started remembering more bits and pieces that you heard. All Azamar hear from a progenitor. It's just not. They just weren't necessarily sparked by that progenitor. You can't tell if Tag is first generation, but given how impressed he is at the situation, he's probably not. But that doesn't mean he hasn't still got some sort of celestial being advising him. Because all Azamar do. Bahirzat looks over at the Avatar of Justice. I take it we have a bit more in the way of more than, if you'll pardon me, he said, she said. We do have some witnesses, yes. I mean, obviously, it depends on which order you'd like to call them in, but in our particular case, we have some of the kitchen staff at the tower. We have the sergeant who runs the jailhouse, who has some other bits to say about, if nothing else, the nature of this particular group. And the group themselves are here to provide witness testimony. I can make a few suggestions as to who has at least spent longer in their company and would be better for the witnesses, but if you want to speak to all of them, obviously that is on the table. Right. It looks over to the secretary. You can tell the ones who are arguing about their stupid fence that they can come back in a week. This is apparently going to take all day, at least. Get the various brooms ready. You will need some time to adjust and arrange yourselves. I'm going to need time to arrange this, because this is a bit more of a trial than I was expecting today. We can do that over a meal. We did keep you waiting out there. I do apologize. But our thanks to Cleric Carthart for her intercedence. And we'll reconvene in about half an hour. A fairly large half-orc comes up and gun you. Y'all got any dietary things you can eat, things you don't like, texture issues, any of that? Darvin is just like, texture issues.
Nope.
Nope.
Okay, anybody got any favorites? Then looks and points at Hazel. You were helpful in the courtroom. You got a favorite?
Unfortunately, I'm sort of surprise me as per in when it comes to I'm very much in the concept of surprise me and aggraf when it comes to food.
And then the half-orc grins.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
I'll be back. And
boy.
it basically ushers you into a room. It's a 12 Angry Men sort of room. It's big table, set of chairs.
It's just this, oh god, what did I say?
It's one of those days when Hazel is probably thinking, I really need to keep my mouth shut, but they're probably going to call me as a fucking witness.
They keep asking me questions. They keep asking me questions. Why do they keep asking me questions?
Darthan is like, well, you're the one who brought her back the first time when you shouldn't even have been able to. That's like key. That's key evidence for us. I mean, Barnabas, I know you're not from any place with gods, but if the Solar, if somebody powerful in the service of a god, and the god he was serving were both keen to let a cleric who wasn't supposed to be able to bring her back to life, brought her back to life, you'd think that the god and the Solar would want her with you, right?
Yeah, that would follow.
Makes sense.
Good. Just making sure, because you're the person you're the only person I know who really focuses on like the law stuff.
Hmm.
So yeah, Hazel's probably gonna have to tell that story.
So this Captain Tag's trying to speak for a deity, I think. Be nice if we could call them to the stand.
Hazel, that will twig the comment you got from Paylor about, if it became really needful, you with Remy's help could feasibly call Zuriel. Not Paylor himself, but
Yeah, because if Mr. Sunface himself warped into here, the whole place would burst into flame.
yeah. But at the same
The
time,
opening of Ark, Indiana Jones.
yes. But anyway, so Barnabas is just tossing that out casual, and then Hazel's face just goes.
Yeah, you seeing
Oh
me going,
no.
just sort of looking to the side and just trying to get smaller.
That would be dramatic.
Is
I
that a
was
thing you
just-
actually do?
I was just shooting the shit. I was not actually suggesting doing that.
Well,
You can
It's
do that?
possible.
it sounds
Maybe.
like yes.
Do we,
If
Maybe,
we're-
probably.
do we think
if
it would
we're-
help?
let's just say had an opportunity to try and ask a few questions, and if things start getting bad,
It is a last resort,
we
yes.
could actually call Zerial directly into the location.
Well, that's good to know.
Is
I
this a
guess.
limited use thing, or because
I mean, in
It's
this,
a break glass in case of emergency.
gotcha,
yeah,
gotcha.
Obviously.
Okay.
I doubt it's something he'd allow us to use. Like,
I'm just concerned of what
this is
channeling that much celestial energy is going to do.
Yeah, but would it be you actually channeling it? You'd just be asking.
yeah, you'd just be calling on him. He'd be doing the rest theoretically.
I mean, you're asking a question. If he chooses to turn up and answer you face to face, well,
Fair enough. Still scares me.
that's fair. That's entirely fair. Because
Entirely fair, yeah.
I remember the times when Zuriel actually manifested, and that was weird enough. Yeah, we have actually met him. Well, some of us have.
Yeah, it's oh boy.
God stuff gives me a headache.
Uh-huh.
Gives you a headache. I got no frame of reference for it.
There's like really, really powerful beings who have less powerful beings to order around.
Astronomically powerful.
Yeah, enough.
So yeah, hopefully, this might be a good thing, guys, because if this lasts for like the entire day, then maybe we could have a private work with him afterwards. Talk about the other thing.
Mm.
But
Maybe.
this is a really long roundabout way to ask for a duel.
Well, we're going to do it by the book.
No, no, that's fair. It's just it's not how we do it back home. Usually, it's somebody gets offended or too many glasses of wine and slaps someone across the face with a glove.
Yeah, where's the glove slapping? I need more of that. Not me
Oh.
personally, but I'd like to see it as a show.
Well, if we were in Belarus, it would be slapping something a lot heavier than a glove.
Yeah, but you didn't
Uh,
you didn't slap your captain with anything.
No, he punched me. That was the
That's
call to
very
a
true.
duel.
I'm sorry, but it's a little bit hard to remember that when you you didn't decided not to answer it right away. You just set up a bar brawl.
Yeah, we had priorities that I did not think he gotten into the things that he had. And yeah, that
That's fair, but at least your nose wasn't any the worse for wear.
Yep, yep, yeah. No, under normal circumstances, yeah, we would have solved it out on the street behind the bar, like civilized mercenaries, and that would have been the end. Maybe would have been the end of it if he hadn't been delving into things he shouldn't have, and
Like
being an
poisons.
obstinate bastard. And yes, also that, among other things.
And from Ryland's scarf. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna forget that anytime soon either.
You
No.
poor lady.
I don't think any of us will, Flitty.
Uh, just be glad you weren't there. Some of them they just got sick. I got kind of dead.
Noted.
I am part of the Revivified Club. Yeah. The half orc comes back in, wheeling a cart with few different dishes all covered with those little silver hat things. Puts them on the table and starts pulling them off. You've got one is sort of sizzling chicken, peppers of different colors, onions on a little, probably one of those heating rune things. The other one is same thing, beef. Another one is those Egreffian flatbreads. Looks at the chicken and the beef, frowns, and then opens up a fourth, and that's prawns and what might be chunks of salmon. And finally puts out like dishes of sour cream, guacamole, salsa, things along those lines, and plate of cheese. You have a do-it-yourself fajita bar.
Mm-hmm.
And sets out some utensils. Got half an hour. Have at it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And brings out a couple of pitchers. One is pretty sure it's lemonade. One is this sort of reddish liquid with chunks of orange and lemon floating in it. Some glasses, some plates.
Clarity's already helping herself to the
Oh,
like
yeah.
seafood one.
Here, I put that in especially for you because I know you're living vicariously.
Remy gnaws intently out of fajita.
Yeah, she'd have to put one together herself first, but
Yes,
that'll
after
be
putting them
yeah.
together.
I'm gonna
I'm
hand
following
I'm gonna hand
Clarity's
of
lead
fate.
on this and also going ham.
Hand of fate is you're gonna have to pay a little bit more attention to the fajita because the hand of fate was a 2, so you've got that thing where you're biting into one bit and stuff is starting to fall out the other end.
Oh no.
So yeah, questions, comments, or just devouring?
Food.
Devouring.
Food into face.
Mm.
Clarity's
And
munching
figuring
and
out what the hell
going.
the surprise me drinks ended up being.
Well, one is lemonade. The other one is actually sangria.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
The only thing Ava can think of is, she's gonna say, "Am I the only one who hates tag 1,000 times more now?"
No.
No.
Fuck
Remy.
her.
Good.
Remy chews more intently.
Yeah, I think for all of us, the urge to like jump out of our chairs and hit him has kind of exceeded max at this point.
I'm actually impressed you didn't react. You managed to keep control like that, Hazel. Proud of you.
Because if
I'm
I
personally,
didn't,
I'm personally more surprised that Remy didn't,
That's true too.
Mm.
and
also
especially
if
about the
Remy
marriage crack.
didn't,
Right.
Mm.
Oh god.
that's an indicator of how much restraint one has to put on oneself. And yeah, after this, we're so going to need to find a place or something to snap in half. If we don't get to snap him in half first.
And Farrad is like, did anyone else notice when he was talking about the marriage thing that he looked kind of like he disliked having to say it? I think he's getting pressure from some other people on that particular
mean-
front.
He's saying things
Who-
Or from upstairs.
I don't.
Upstairs from who? Who is there to pressure
He's an
him?
Is he the head of
Azamar.
everything?
They all have. Farrad is. They all have a celestial
Progenitor,
ancestor.
basically.
Yeah.
Oh.
But no, I don't think it's that. It felt like I don't. The look was more. And it's a look I see from you guys a lot. It's I don't believe I have to listen to these people. They're not the boss of me.
That's
Oh, no.
the thing. Who is his boss other than the governor? And well, that's a whole separate issue.
No, I mean I think he's the boss and he's got his own reasons for doing this, but he's got. I guess he's got seconds or subordinates or something who are bringing up other reasons. Maybe for reasons of their own. I mean, they were saying is how some of them just didn't want to have to go out and fight, which they'd have to if they let the Azamar go. I just wonder if there's another reason that they wouldn't want Alisea to stay married to you beyond the having to go adventuring with you thing. Well, not having to, because obviously she wants to, but you know what I mean.
Yes. Hmm.
Angles that I can think of on that line just feels really gross.
Yeah,
Just
that's kind of why I'm
yuck.
trying not to say it. I mean, it's not like I gave anything like that a whole lot of thought. I was kind of too young to care until recently.
Hmm.
So basically, we just tell the truth when we're asked questions. We keep calm and not give in to the temptation to turn Tag into a thin paste.
Thankfully,
Yes.
the entire
Yep.
point of this is to let Remy
Yes.
turn Tag into a thin paste. Eyes on the prize.
More or less.
I wonder, will we be able to ask questions of
I
Tag?
doubt it.
Doesn't sound like it. It sounds like we're just witnesses.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
Behirzet who's asking the questions. We can answer the questions that we are asked in ways that would suggest other questions, if we're smart about it. Though they're probably not going to ask me because I don't actually know. I mean, I'm new.
He was throwing out a whole lot of like, oh, she's got, you know, such and such syndrome where they and she's got she's must know that she's doing things that's not for her own good and stuff. But like, how much time did he spend with her exactly, and where is this coming from? Does he have any psychological kind of background?
Mm.
That's a valid
Does he
point.
have any sort of basis in these accusations? All it is conjecture, and he's putting words in her mouth.
I'm not
He's
not
trying.
entirely sure about that. Keep in mind that the whole point of her was going there before us was Darwin's like, yeah, the whole point of her going there was to tell the stories of the things she survived. You think he didn't hear those too? If he is that scared of what he saw as a kid, then he knows exactly what she's talking about facing. That just gives him more. That gives more weight to his argument, not ours.
Mm-hmm.
What we need to
I
do
mean,
is.
he's putting out words of like her having a syndrome that in her mind she's attaching herself to people and who are bad for her. When that's a medical thing. That's
Yeah, what basis does he
psychological.
have to claim that?
He's looking for new arguments. Ones that are not about deterring us, but convincing the rest of the court.
If he's not
Exactly.
an expert in those sorts of things, then he should not be speaking upon them.
Obviously, but
Oh, that's the problem. We don't know whether he has or hasn't done any kind of reading on it.
True.
And it's a risk. Because if
Yeah.
he's been there, I mean, he's got his own mental issues, and he would have been. He can't have just got to be captain for his ability to stand against a door. He's been dealing with traumatized people ever since the purges, including himself. He must have done something to be even halfway as good at it as he is. We've seen what happens to people who are bad at dealing with trauma. We traveled with one.
Yeah.
So So it's a risk. It could give weight to his case. I don't. I know we hate him. I hate him, but I don't think he's stupid. I don't think he
No.
would have said that if he couldn't
Unfortunately,
back up a
unfortunately
supposition.
not.
I mean, if you want to try, but
That's why I'm putting it out there, is that, he's putting out these things, but we don't know what his background is
yeah.
and
And
whether
oh
that's
no,
something that we can.
I understood. It's just if he says yes, I've been, you know, speaking to clerics and reading in this place. It's not quite the same as the libraries in Belarus or Egref, but they've still got a street to. They've still got a street to Civilian. They've got Rao, the god of reason. He could
Sure.
have studied a lot, and if we nudge the things in that, the best we could hope for is, I didn't, but some of my comrades did. And at worst, I've done X, Y, and Z reading. What do you guys know?
Yeah.
At that point, we kind of would have to call in Zerial.
Well,
It's a thought, but I'm just saying it's as much risk as anything else. I mean, we don't know anything about mental health. Probably would have been able to help Aaron more if we did.
Mm.
We're about break time, so I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to think about this, and when we come back, we will carry on. And we're back, having a build your own fajita bar set up while having a last bit of conversation about what happens if y'all get called up as witnesses, and trying to figure out what we all think the limitations of that will be. Yeah, so far, it's mostly been no, you will not be able to cross-examine people. That not be what you're there for. Not to mention, as Faraday says, also we don't actually know the legal system here. We could end up making things worse.
We could. I feel like we've already made a mess enough as it is.
Darvin's like, how? I mean, the situation's a mess, yeah, but I don't think we made it that much worse.
Yeah, it's not.
I
Didn't
mean,
help,
we're
I guess, either.
just because we haven't been able to circumnavigate the legal bullshit doesn't mean that we messed anything up. It just means that this is a kind of legality we haven't met. That's because ours looks really different. I mean, maybe this is closer to how Barnabas's people did it.
uh, not really.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of bureaucracy and that sort of thing, but there's no provisions for and because you've wronged me, I get a due. It's all handled administratively. Um, I mean, it's got every legal system going to have its own quirks. Best we can do probably is just answer anything we're asked honestly. You know?
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, I just meant more in the theory, because mostly it's, I mean, for me and Ava, it's um a couple of people walk up to the local nobility, state their cases, and there's none of this question and counter question and everything like that. It's just two people speak up, the noble makes the decision, and either somebody gets the land, or the animals are put in jail, very occasionally executed. That's only for like murder or things. But it's And honestly, we didn't even have that the time we got arrested. Then again, I think the being arrested was mostly just a pretense for asking for a favor anyway.
Mm.
It was kind of confusing at that point. We still thought that it was Baron, now King Langerhan, who was evil. That's when we found out he wasn't evil.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was an experience.
It would have been really interesting to have you along back then, Barnabas.
Yeah, I bet. One thought I have had though is if Tag's just going to be going on and on about his opinions of Alice, and that's that, shouldn't she have a right to speak for herself? Which, worst comes to worst, could at least bring her here. So,
That's definitely part of it. This was we actually were thinking of something similar.
Except again, that's a question. We're not there for that.
yeah.
I mean,
Hopefully that will arise, but the last resort is calling her as a second for the duel, and
well, I
in
mean, there's
theory he's obliged to answer to that.
well, there is one thing we haven't mentioned. He admitted that he has her.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, he's just saying that it's not theft; it's protective custody.
That's yeah. They funny how they always come up with alternative phrasing for that. I mean, remember where I wound up. Oh, we didn't kill the kid. We just put them in a tower and didn't name them for
Look,
5 years.
I know. It's not that. It's just, I mean, think about it. At this point, we've at the very least got him to admit he was lying and he actually has her.
That's a start.
It'll get them to question anything else he's claimed. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
And Faraday does that, or they'll wonder whether the reason she's not speaking for herself is because she's trying to stay away from like us because Tag has a point. That's probably what he'll try to sell it as.
I mean,
Wouldn't surprise
if
me.
that's the case, then then couldn't the governor ask to talk to her privately away from us?
That's if she wants to talk to him too, but I mean, I don't speak crazy exactly, so I can't really say how he'd answer that, but he'd probably have a way. That's the thing, he's smart crazy.
The
Mm.
problem is the governor doesn't want to go to the Asimo district because of the anti-magic field, and Tag doesn't want to let Alice come here.
But if the governor, orders him to, I mean, this is just
Hopefully.
supposition, because I have no basis for understanding what their legal system is about. But, at the same time, there's a very, easy way to find out whether Alice is crazy or if Alice is afraid of us or if she's being held against her will. Ask Tag to bring her here.
I think half of the entire problem is the governor's trying to avoid giving Tag an order that he'll outright refuse, and then everything goes to shit at that point. Because if he could just order Tag to stand down and let the Asmar go, then we wouldn't be in all of this in the first place. But
So
it's a-
Saying it's just one person, where this is the one person that we're talking about, and he
Yes.
has the person.
And if that one person gets let out, then what's to stop other people from talking about the other ones? It's it's an opening the floodgates situation. Why is
I
she
think
different? Why is she why is she special? Why is it okay for her when it's not safe for them, etc., etc., etc. It kicks off the avalanche.
and Tag's going to get more dangerous the more he's put in a corner.
We're kind
Yeah.
of trying to kick off the avalanche, though, aren't we?
Yeah, but I mean,
Oh, yes, but we're also trying to
We need to
prevent
make
violence.
we're trying to make sure that there's like barriers in place to catch it so that it doesn't flatten like everything.
Fair enough.
I mean, you saw the number of people they brought out just for an arrest. I mean, okay, it's us and we have a reputation, but
Yeah.
that plus more could probably cause an awful lot of damage. And again,
It's
this is Food Hub.
it's one thing if the Protector Asmar are on the verge of a riot. It's another thing if the Scourge Asmar, who are armed and fire magicked, are on the verge of a riot. And there's not really anyone to get them to stand down at that point.
And again, unless the governor wanted to come out. But even then, that's a lot of Scourge Azamar. Oh, this from Darwin. Oh no.
What?
Well, if he did try to order them and they refused and he outed himself as a dragon, couldn't they say that that dragon was faking being the governor?
God,
Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
To claim it's an imposter.
And there's a
Which one
lot
is
of
it?
them. It took 9 of us to kill an ancient. And there's a lot more than of them. There's a lot more than 9 of them.
Right.
Yeah,
So resolve the thing with Tag first before that part, I guess.
Yes.
Uh,
This has all got very complicated.
Mm-hmm.
the fact that we have
Mhm.
to have an order of operations to hitting the power structure with a mallet says a lot.
Welcome to civilization. It sucks sometimes.
At that point, there's a on the door. Hafor comes in pushing food trolley again, and this time you have basket of basically churros and bowls of champorado.
Mm.
Collects plates. You got about 10 minutes.
Thank you.
Coffee, tea.
tea,
She would be
please.
lovely.
Coffee, please.
Actually hands Ava the tea list. So, yeah. Anybody who asks for tea gets the tea list. Anyone who asks for coffee gets a similar list to the one that you got from the Mocha-Matic. To various different
I'm
kinds of
asking for
coffee.
tea because if I ask for coffee, nothing's gonna stop
Yeah,
me.
yeah. You get whatever choice of tea or coffee that you got, and you got your warm churros and your champorado, and munching on that for like 10 minutes. And when the knock comes again, it's the secretary and the half-orc who starts clearing up. If you're all finished, come on. You guys are all in the audience section. Paladin Crestman, I'll be showing you where to sit. Come.
Well, here goes.
Mm.
Hazel will note, possibly with some amusement, that it's Remy sat where the Firbolg was sitting, and Captain Tag ends up sitting where Mr. Pointy was.
Oh, that's cute.
Well, it kind of feels to Hazel like the secretary is like making her opinions of this known by seating preference.
And you get the designated asshole seat.
Yeah.
I'm just going to lean over to Clarity. Damn it. I was brought in when I was brought in earlier. Pointy was over there, and Verbolg was over there. Secretary put Tag in the asshole seat.
She being the asshole elf.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yes, the first person who is called up is Tansy, who looks very, very nervous to be up here because she has to work with these people. And Tag does not look impressed with her one tiny little bit. But she does explain that, yes, she had been made aware that the new Azamar was being held within the tower. As far as she was aware, there was no indication that said new Asmar was hiding from anybody, but she wasn't technically allowed to talk to this person. It's just that you, we reason that when a door is literally broken down, well, either that's some significant claustrophobic panic attack, in which case putting her in a smaller room was probably not a great idea, or, but like I say, I haven't actually spoken to her. That was somewhat discouraged. Not that she seemed to really care about what was discouraged in terms of who she was talking to. She spent a lot of time when she was allowed out talking to the kids and some of the people at the market, but mostly the kids. Lend, on the other hand, is basically, okay, look. First I saw of these people. They're worth being thrown into my jail. I got a list of charges. Most of them seemed a little much. So I asked some questions. Under, well, you know what was given to me for interrogations. They lied seldom, and I think it was more misunderstanding of their own connections to things than anything else. And honestly, the charges, begging your pardon, were bullshit. And you must have known that because you came to get them out. What? You came with an entourage to put them in more comfortable long-term custody? No. Fuck. And Niala is just, yep, that would have been me. Everybody turns around and looks at her. Technically speaking, wasn't lying. That place is not rated for overnight guests. We were bringing them someplace that was more suitable for an overnight stay. And it's not like we let them wander off and do more crime. Are we going to have an issue about this? We're going to have a discussion about this, Ms. Mobius. The whole look is, what are you going to do? Fire me?
Private.
Oh, that's the thing. It's pretty clear that She knows her place is pretty solid. And when she turns up on the witness stand, it's okay. Here's how it went. The Azamar, Alice, came to us first, saying that her progenitor had asked her wife and herself to get the lay of the land as far as the Protector Azamar went, to let them know they don't have to be scared of the world. Not even the various bits of black gunk that Tag and everybody seem to be panicking about. Just the world in general. Because you do know there's like people all over the world who are not touching that shit. Just saying. Anyway, we warned her about the anti-magic field, which is a little suspicious anyway, I tend to think, but never mind. And went, and we didn't see her again after that. We did see her take one of the kids on a flight, and then not come back up again, which was apparently not something she would generally speaking do. Excuse me, if there was an anti-magic field, how was she taking them on a flight? Physical wings. Please, please ask Paladin Crestwind about that one. Lend is like, please ask Paladin Crestwind about that one. Just giving a nod from his own seat. Tag is just... So these chucklefucks turn up, and I have to explain to them that, well, this does not seem to be going as well as anyone thought. So they went in, took a tour of the place. It could probably have been slightly better thought out, but adventurers, they're used to a whole different kind of way of doing what's right. I mean, look at them. They are not comfortable with this. They want to hit things. I can't say I blame them. Anyway, so we put them up while they took the tour, got lied to an awful lot, tried to figure out ways to get their friend and wife back, and then got arrested for no good reason apart from maybe one of their number being ever so slightly stupid about telling guards that they were going to go away and come back when there were more amenable guards. And Lend is just, yeah, you might want to talk. You might want to not talk to Magic 8-Ball Man. I'm just saying. Darvid nudges
You get
Ryan.
the elf.
Yeah, Darvid nudges Rylan. You hear that? You're famous.
I guess you'll find somewhere that makes custom T-shirts.
Actually, Barnabas leans over to Riley and goes, I haven't had a chance to say it before, but I'm so proud of you for that.
All right, says Behirzet once Nyala is done. And your sister has nothing to say about this. Did you want my sister in here giving testimony? No, thank you. Yeah, I thought you might want to finish this sometime this week. Yeah. Don't worry, it's going to be me that she jumps on when I get back to find out how it went. You have my sympathies.
Nanzabab even be here doesn't want to deal with the manic one.
Well, no.
Amazing.
Alright, and I'm not to ask Magic 8-Ball Man. Len just points at
He
Riley.
moves his hand quietly.
And Flitty actually pops out of the scarf and sits on his head, just very proud. doing the little I'm helpful dance.
Cut this on your head.
Right. And looks at Niala. All right, which of them would you suggest I speak to first? I'm gonna say the Minotaur. Apparently this is adoptive brother. Also legally trained to some degree, so might be a little bit more clear of purpose. Very well. Barnabas Stumplefink?
Yes,
That is not a name I've ever seen.
I'm adopted, and I'm not from here.
No, I recognize that by the functional speech and reason. Thank you. Please.
He goes wherever he's directed.
It's not so much a witness stand exactly, but it is a spot to stand. All right. There's not quite so much questions here yet, so let's start with your take on the situation, and we'll go into questions from there.
Okay. Out of character, would he take the situation as what? His opinion of it?
Well, it's what he's seen and done so far. His opinion of it will probably come through in that. It's like what Niala did and what Sergeant Len did. This is how I got involved in this. This is what I've done throughout all of it,
Mm-hmm.
and any feeling word notations of this is bullshit. They can probably get away with a few more than you can, but
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's a very particular guard reciting stuff that is bullshit tone that anyone in any kind of power has to know.
okay, fair enough.
So yeah, I mean, Barnabas will just lay out like he's been traveling with him. He's going. They were.
I understand, but can we have it in character, please? I have asked everybody else to do that on these things, so
Gotcha.
it would be nice. Thank you.
Well, I mean, to start from the beginning with this is, as far as I was aware, there was Elsa and the rest of us were told to go help out by some Zuriel, I guess. Where I'm from, there isn't actually God, so this whole religion thing is, I don't quite understand it like this. Anyway, I mean, we know she was there. We were being lied to our faces about it. Some of the gods passed along information that Alice's wings were clipped. That was the mutilation that was brought up before. And
The thing we're
then,
supposed to ask Paladin Quest went about.
yes, well, the wings themselves. She'd be able
Yes.
to explain it better. Um, when all of that didn't, when we left and then got arrested, charges were trumped up nonsense. But I mean, I've done the same in my time back when I was still a god. But then apparently there was some children of the Asimar who were trying to climb something. One got injured, the other was killed. And not only are they refusing any kind of medical healing or resurrection, but somehow I'm blamed for it. I was talking to one of them before while we were in there.
Looks at Captain Tag. You will have your turn for this, but these are not the charges at hand.
It's I know this is my opinion and everything, but where I can see, he's scared and won't see beyond it. That's what the problem is here.
Thank you. Please take a seat.
So how many daggers is he glaring at Barnabas for that?
Actually, well, make me an insight check. Anyone else who
All right.
wants to may do the same.
100% doing that.
Absolutely.
No, Remy is very focused on what she's going to say next. Oh, okay. Well, Barnabas is definitely going to see that. Hazel, yep.
Hello.
Nice.
Oh, what the roll 20? What the hell?
No, you got it. It turned up.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's everybody but Remy who notices that he's not glaring daggers at Barnabas. He actually looks kind of smug. Because Barnabas has just flagged up that, yeah, Tag can, no matter how this comes out, Tag can still have him up on this floor. And he's literally just admitted to talking to those kids, which at least halfway proves his argument about incitement. Barnabas has just reminded him that he's got that to nail Barnabas to a wall about. Looks over at Hazel and apologies for bringing you up here again, but you fared fairly well the last time.
Bit of a, it's like just looking. Oh boy.
30 gives her a quick squeeze on the hand before she goes.
Yep.
In your own words, Clara Carthart.
Oh boy. Right. So I've been traveling with Alice pretty much since that first meeting, though there was a brief interruption when the incident involving the red dragon she encountered happened.
I've heard vague stories about this one, but please, in your own words.
Yeah, that can. Because of that interruption, when we actually came across her again, she was dead at the time. And I had to try at least. And in casting what I knew likely wouldn't work, I'm still not entirely sure how this happened, but it did work through a combination of sheer stubbornness and probably at least at least a hefty will to live and promises from Remy.
Out of character, Hazel is wise. Now is the time to add, but none of it would have worked if the god hadn't wanted her here, and it wouldn't have worked through me if the god hadn't wanted her with us.
But ultimately, regardless of those and repeated attempts at casting, I wouldn't have been given the amount of power required from Paylor to circumvent the limitation if Paylor and his primary solar didn't want our back on our prime material. And in doing so, we've since encountered a number of instances of that corruptive stuff. But because of protections, we've been fighting it back the whole time.
And she hasn't seemed remotely frightened of this that you're aware of.
She's often the first one in to try and hit it. She charged a dragon corrupted by it and hit it in the face.
I seem to recall something about a giant skeleton partly held together with that.
Mm-hmm. As well. Same case. Charged first, hit face.
I see. So your reaction to being told that she might simply be frightened of this and not wanting to tell you would be
That it is, to use the phrasing that someone previously on the up here said, bullshit.
very well. Have you anything to add?
Just I'm racking my brain trying to remember. Is there anything
Uh,
you want me to roll?
roll a straight up wisdom. Not that you can think of. You've had quite enough of the talking in front of people for right now. It's already been a long day.
That that's about the sum of it.
Very well. Take a seat. Looks over and apparently decides to save some time. Paladin Crestwind.
Yeah, Remy will march up.
In your own words.
Well, if nothing else, I am extremely confident that no force in the universe could make Alice do something that she didn't want to do, and when she does something, she does not do it in half measures. She has been with us because that is where she wants to be and where she wants to do best, do the most to help people in need. And she's seen that there were people in need here, and they needed somebody to inspire them.
And that's why she came here.
That's right. They have a right to see that there is a whole wide world out there, not just dangers. And some of them might be called to fight, some of them might be called to heal or to create or anything else. But they can't do any of that while they're prisoners in everything but name. And at this point, you might as well forget that they're prisoners. And they're being intimidated and punished now.
I think the first thing I will ask as it centers on the punishment. There have been at least a couple of situations where I have been advised that I should ask you about the comments about the crippling and the wings. Now, of course, out of character, Behirzet was there when she got them. He's not asking this for him.
Alice, manifested physical wings as a wedding gift from Palor.
There's a certain amount of combination odd and what the fuck murmuring from various spots in the audience and the quasi jury box. And glances briefly at Tag and then back to me. And the word mutilated came up at some point.
Yes, to prevent her from being able to fly, both in the sense of stopping her from escaping and to stop her from showing the other Protector Asmar what she can do.
Also, presumably, not allowing them to experience what they can.
And that's right. They can't summon their wings as long as they're trapped in the anti-magic field.
Alright. The charges as regards, you tried to get in more than once, as I understand it.
Yes, we were looking for Alice and information on where she could be.
Did you believe Tag when he told you that she had not been seen there?
No,
Why not?
Ziriel teleported her directly to the city. I had no reason to think she would go off on any other distractions. As soon as she had talked with Niall and learned everything she needed, going to the other Protector Asmar would be the only place she would be, and if she wasn't able to get back to Niall and get back to us, that was because someone was holding her against her will.
Out of character. Also, Barnabas was informed by various children that she was actually still there. She was actually seen flying above the wall. And the Tansy, Pansy, and Marigold trio did give the indication that she was in there when you guys did actually get around to asking her questions.
We also spoke to several of the Asimar children, as well as Tansy and her sisters, who confirmed that she was being held in the tower.
At which point Lynn just speaks up. Also, tomorrow's docket might have something to do with one Adelaide asking some questions about the whereabouts of her husband.
I was going to suggest that Clint would be an important witness to call, and he's not here.
And why would Clint be an important witness?
Because he and Adelaide also spoke to us, and they would testify that Alice has been held against her will and her wings were mutilated as punishment and deterrent to stop her from escaping again.
Out of character. Also, the potion. He was responsible for asking for the thing to stop the nightmares.
We were told that he was punished because he crafted a potion with our help to undo the nightmares that Tag was inducing as part of her magical sleep as another form of punishment, and to using her as a test subject as he sought to find another way to intimidate the other Asimar into no longer wishing to leave.
Have you anything to add?
Said everything that's important.
Very well. Glances at Tag for a moment, and then looks at the elderly gnome lady. There was mention of the course of action the plaintiffs wish to take. Yes, Remy Crestwind is declaring a duel against Captain Tag. Paladin Crestwind, it is for you to name the time.
This evening.
Would 7 o'clock about do?
Yes.
Very well. Captain Tag, as you have been challenged, it is for you to name the place. The town square at the Asmar settlement. Very well. Ermy Crestwind, name your second.
I will say Featherwind.
Shit. Tag actually smirks a little, given that she is the one under discussion, as it were. That strikes me as inappropriate. I believe there is at least some legality that will back me up on this. And there's a very minor, probably only Hazel sees. Fuck, I was hoping he didn't know the law that well.
Wait, sorry. Say again? Didn't catch that.
Oh, fuck, I was hoping he didn't know the law that well. He must have hunted through so many dusty old bullshit books for this loophole. Unfortunately,
Ghibling.
there is approximately 200-year-old precedent of that. However, it has not been claimed as a valid reason to deny a second in 200 years. That doesn't mean it's no longer the law. Remy Crestwind, name your second. Sorry, I rolled the hand of fate for that and I got a 2.
Barnabas Stumplefink. Although I think, as Captain Tag has noted, that LSA is the center of this, then she should bear witness to the duel.
No comment from Captain Tag about that. He's just still smirking a little bit. Captain Tag, choose your second. Lieutenant Jessamy. Very well. The duel will take place this evening at 7 p.m. I believe that's us adjourned for the moment. There's a whole lot of muttering from various audience bits. Tag just walks out with Lend following along. You can't hear exact words, but you can hear the "what the fuck do you think you're doing" kind of muttering.
And Remy's... Actually, are there any of the other Scourge guards there at all, other than those two?
Not
She's looking for Lieutenant Jessamy, if that is possible.
well, you wouldn't know what this individual looks like.
Based
So
on
identifying.
Perking up.
There was nobody nodded particularly at the name, at that name
Okay.
being spoken. So not not entirely clear whether she's there or not. Assuming
Okay.
she. The Azamar seem to have a naming pattern of the men have a single syllable name and the women have a 3-syllable name. It's a thing. And Darwin is just, so are we going to ask the governor if we can have a word, or are we going to do the duel first?
I don't know.
I think it might be best to handle the duel first.
And the thing is that if we don't ask, he's not going to be able to actually witness this duel.
That's a good point.
I mean, we can have a discussion, I think, and
have a word with him.
you know, he can have his
Then
two coffers in.
Then somebody who doesn't regularly gargle their own boots should probably talk to him before he walks out.
Clarity runs up there.
Remy also goes towards the Avatar of Justice. She can catch her on the way out.
Yeah, I mean, she's fairly slow, and she's waiting for everybody else to get out so she doesn't get trampled. So we'll deal with Clarity first in a sort of a. Governors don't normally have people running up on them like this, and a couple of non-Scourge Azamar guards are kind of looking at her like, "Excuse you."
It's me, Governor. And she bows and says, "If I might just have a quick word."
Uh, does this have to be now? You only have a couple of hours to get your friends ready for this upcoming duel.
It doesn't have to be now. It could be at your earliest convenience, but we would, the Cupcake Coterie would like to have a word with you in private.
Yes, I mean, I recognized most of you. You weren't at the occasion of our last meeting, I don't believe. It would have to be after the, and obviously you're going to be busy during the duel, so after is probably a situation. Unfortunately, I will be unable to attend.
Right.
But I will be sending a representative, obviously.
If you could possibly send for us afterwards so that we can have a private word, that would be much appreciated.
I'll leave a message at the Bone Orchard.
Thank you very much. She bows again and departs.
And okay, Remy is approaching little old gnome lady. I am sorry about that. I didn't think you knew 200-year-old dual law.
I understand. Speaking of dual laws, I am not familiar with a couple centuries worth of that, but the exact terms of the duel and to which point wasn't stated.
It will be stated at the duel itself. If the two of you do not agree, which is entirely possible, I will be the final arbiter. One thing I should warn you. I understand that both yourself and Mr. Stumblefink are, your styles of fighting involve some magical elements to them.
Not within the anti-magic field.
I'm aware. His martial training isn't based on magic at all. Out of character, translated to the rule book, this is a fighter.
We're both ready to fight for Alisai.
I'm aware. I'm just, If he says to the death, say no.
Hmm. All right.
Was there anything else?
Hmm. Thank you for your help.
I don't think we're entirely done yet. I have a feeling that if this doesn't change things significantly, he'll be in the legal hot seat again, and then he's going to insist that Mr. Stumplefink take the defendant's seat as regards. Yes, bringing that up was a mistake.
Hag's only playing by the rules as long as he thinks he can win.
Well, yes, but that kind of means you need to know which ones to wiggle around. But
Hmm.
I understand that that's a common issue with your group, bringing up the things that hurt you the most, even when they're not the matter at hand.
Hmm. We're out of our element here.
I will be pushing to the knockout, by the way, for the duel.
Thank you.
You do understand that your armor will only be regular armor when you're in there as well, right?
Hmm.
All right. I'll be saying this in a more generalized way at the time, but just so that you're aware of where my heart lies in this matter, even if I have to be relatively neutral. Good luck.
Thank you.
And yeah, most people, apart from a couple of guards, have stepped out, and that leaves the rest of you. And Darwin is like, I don't know if that went well or not.
Hard to say.
Could have gone worse.
Uh, Clarity, what was, what did the governor say?
Yelling, apparently. Uh, well, he said that would send a representative to the duel, but that he would not be able to speak to us until afterwards.
Well, there's a surprise. But we're gonna talk to him later.
Yeah, he's going to send someone over to the Bone Orchard to let us know when he is available.
Okay then. Remy, what was?
Just clearing some things up about duel law and the terms of the duel.
Speaking of, I guess that means that the initial plan of
Let's get out of here
other
first.
things is go.
Sorry, what was that, Smeagol? I didn't hear you, Smeagol.
No, is first anyone else around? It's just
No,
us, right?
I mean, it's a couple of guards, but they're standing across the room from you. They're just making sure you don't like the furniture on fire or anything. And they're not Scourge Azamar anyway. They're just guards.
So I'm guessing that with all of that, Plan B is a go, or rather, Plan C, and I'm pointing at Clarity.
Well, that might depend on how the duel goes.
Nah, we had to do
Speaking
that. We were probably have to do that at the same time on account of the fact that I think we probably shouldn't be trusting him as far as we can throw him, even if we win that.
Well, the senior
'Cause
cleric specifically stated he's a very capable fighter, so I think he is
He's
pretty
also-
confident in his odds.
He's also probably not going to fight fair.
He's got one other handicap that I don't think he thought about when he suggested the duel on that particular spot. Don't the Protector Asimar hate him? Weren't they throwing things at him a while ago?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what he can do to cheat in front of the senior cleric's going to be arbitrating. If she thinks he's
Anti-magic
cheating,
field.
Yeah, but not
yeah,
all of
which
her deal is magic.
the anti-magic field means there's only so many things he could do to cheat. And if she thinks he's cheating, then everything he says, all his credibility goes out the window.
Ava, what?
Speaking of the anti-magic field, I have a slight question we might not have thought of. Your weapon, Remy. Can you still summon?
She borrowed one from Niala.
Oh, right.
I'll have to use Niala's sword, which it's not as good, but steel's steel.
Doesn't your armor lose half its spiffy?
Oh yeah, it is I was thinking, does it do anything? But yeah, if it's a +1, then it does lose a +1 spiffy.
And the very well. I mean, you're
Yeah,
probably not gonna have to worry about the lightning damage, but
the resistances don't matter.
the
Hopefully.
bludgeoning damage is depending on what weapon Tag is using.
I completely forgot about that. I mean, it's still steel. It's better than nothing. Much better than nothing.
Just every single time you've been gearing up for a fair fight, it hasn't been one. That's why I bring it up, because this is 3 times now you've been in a duel, and twice out of you're going to be in a duel, and twice now out of that, bullshit.
Yeah, but my only worry is
Harder
if we try and
bullshit.
do anything out of the realm of this legal procedure, we're going to make things worse.
And I mean, to be fair, they've already got a distraction. I mean, especially if I don't think it's going to happen. I won't be able to inspire you the usual way, but I can cheer you on in the normal way, I guess. But anyway, the point is that even if we do it after the duel, if Remy loses, the Protector Asmar gonna hate him even more.
There is that if things escalate, we need to be ready to protect the Protector Asimar.
But why not already be there? Why not have someone already in the inside sneaking around?
But
I mean,
if they're caught, that's going to.
Also, we will already be there. Nobody said we couldn't watch.
And if one of us is missing, that's going to arouse suspicion.
I mean, if a riot starts, we all need to be there to protect the Protector Asimar.
And I mean, yeah, like Hazel says, why wouldn't we be there to be moral support for Remy and Barnabas? And we have a stake in this too.
I would very much like if Clarity could sneak into the tower and get LSA out, but
I mean, also,
if she's in that cell, then
we still don't have the potion to wake her up anyway. Also, we keep saying Clint made that potion, this from Faraday, but he didn't. He asked us for all the ingredients, but he gave it to that Furbolg in the basement bar at Her Grace's Bower.
And we've also got one other. And speaking of Glenn, we have to hit the docks right about now.
Well, I mean, he's going to be in court tomorrow. But I know you need to talk to people at the docks anyway, but he's going to be in court tomorrow.
I don't think we're going to have access to him at that tomorrow.
There's an audience. couldn't we just ask the secretary lady?
Fair point.
I mean,
A lot of new stuff that just happened.
we're also. I mean, we should be there anyway. We should volunteer as witnesses. The only reason he's been punished at all is because he was helping us.
Mm-hmm.
But no, if we really want to ask, and it's fair to if we really want to ask somebody to counteract that poison, which is the only way Clarity could get Alice out of there on her own anyway, it'd be the Firbolg in the basement bar, not Clint specifically.
Hmm.
He was a go-between. That was all.
We have a bunch of stuff to redirect to. All at once. Why does this keep getting more complicated? Can we just jump him?
No. I
Not
wish it would
anymore.
be a lot easier if we could. Be a lot easier,
Something as it
but
is.
Mm-hmm.
trying to keep this from escalating. And
It's not just about us. You've got to remember that.
Farada's like, is there any way we could suggest they put Sergeant Lind in charge?
hopefully afterwards, but
What about
no.
now?
We're still several steps from getting Tag removed from office.
I doubt Tag will give up his position easily.
Which
That's for
we
sure.
need to wait for him to make the wrong move, and then we can take him down. But it's the hard part is waiting for him to get back into that corner where he does something unwise. We can't be the first ones to draw swords, essentially.
Well,
Fucking halfling word for fascist. Ass
Then-
face.
And once he's about to start lighting fires, we have to stop him before he does. So we all need to be ready for stopping the guards from hurting those people if the their protector ASMR start throwing tomatoes. The guards are the one with the swords, and it will be very easy for one of them to make the wrong move.
so how do you get ready for a duel? Do you eat something first, or do you go on an empty stomach in case things get unfortunate, or what? We kind of want to help.
I appreciate that. It's not really that different from any other fight in terms of preparing,
That
anyways.
answers nothing.
Yep.
What time is it, approximately?
Well, some of those bits of testimony took a bit longer than than you'd think. So it's about 5:30.
I will have a light meal before the duel. If you would like to get dinner.
Okay, well let's. Hazel, you're good at surprise me. Find someplace.
Yes, good idea.
Sure.
And we are in fact past that time, so we
I'll
meet up
just-
again in 2 weeks' time, and this is actually perfect because it means that Ethan will be able to give Darvin's bit of speech. So, well stalled. Go me.
Abel just had one thing to Remy. They said he's a tremendous fighter. You're
Mm-hmm.
better.
Thank you.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't say exactly what. There's no way of saying what level somebody is.
No,
Mhm.
true.
Just saying.
Oh yeah.
But
Just trying to.
we'll figure it out. We'll figure it all out in 2 weeks' time. So, bye, guys.